Okay, so there's a goldfish. I've got a few goldfish in there, and that's called a pond. It's a little bit of an unusual shape. It's a long rectangle. So let's pull back. And again, this is probably not so interesting if you've got a garden, if you live in Europe. But if you live in another country where perhaps our gardens are quite different, or maybe you don't have a garden, then perhaps it's of some interest. It's quite a small garden, and as with the beast, I haven't really had much time to do any gardening recently. Those are called compost bins. So I put all my food that banana peel, or food that I haven't eaten, or food that's gone off, and other things. And then I've got lots and lots of worms in there, special worms which eat everything up very quickly. It turns into compost, and then I can use the compost for growing or spreading around the garden. That's called a shed. My mother, if she sees this video, will say, oh, you can't show them that, because she thinks I need to repaint it. And the grassy area in English is called a lawn. Okay. And this here, which is obviously made of wood, just outside my conservatory, is called decking. So that's a nice place to have a table and chairs, or just sit down on the decking, watch the fish, and so on. And then we have an aviary, and in there I've got several. Well, actually, several means 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, something like that. But actually, there are 7. But several doesn't mean 7. Lovebirds. And guess where the next mini lesson is going to be? Yes, can you see the tripod? I'm going into the aviary. So I'm just going to have to stop this and get inside and set up. And then you will carry on with the mini lesson. See you in a minute. Okay, so here I am in the aviary. Lovebirds are behind me. Hopefully they won't make too much noise. I just thought of a proverb which is connected with birds, and the proverb is, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So basically it means if you have a bird in your hand, you've got it, it's certain. But if you go for the 2 birds in the bush, it's going to be more difficult to catch them. They might fly off, and you may end up with nothing. It's possible you may end up with 2 birds, which is better than 1, but probably you will end up with nothing. Okay, so for example, let's say maybe about your job. You are thinking about giving up or quitting your job, but your friend says a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. So you've got a job, and it might be difficult to find another job, and you may end up unemployed. So of course this is not, it's a wise saying, but sometimes it's good to take a chance, it's good to take a risk, of course. So it's not going to be for every situation, and it depends on the people and the person's opinion and so on. But in one sentence we can sum up what the person is thinking, or the advice they're giving. Proverbs are often used for advice. Okay, let's pick an idiom. Alright. It's quite hot today, or sunny anyway. It's not so hot, but it's sunny. He's quite a catch. Okay, I think I just used the word catch to catch 2 birds, but he's quite a catch. means okay, I'll give you the example. That'll be easier to start with. So maybe two girls are talking, and one of the girls has just got a new boyfriend, and he's really nice, tall, dark and handsome, as they say, and the other girl says, wow, he's quite a catch. It means you got lucky, you did well, he's great. All right, so that's pretty easy. Yeah, it would often be used in that situation, but it can be used in other situations too. Okay, let's pick a phrasal verb. To show off. Okay, so one of the lovebirds now is showing off. He's trying to get attention. But actually it means if you are, let's say, a footballer, for example, and congratulations to Brazil for winning the Confederation Cup. But let's say one of the players is, during the match, they start doing some fancy tricks or clever tricks. We would call this showing off. It's not really necessary to do those clever things with the football, but he wants to get attention. So that's called showing off. Okay, or let's say in June, when you the mini lessons I was doing in June, and I was doing the bass riffs. Let's say I'm a fantastic bass player. It's an example. As you know, I'm not. But the reason I put the bass riffs in the lesson was because I want to show off. I want to show you how fantastic I am at playing the bass. Okay, that's, as I just explained, it's not true. It's just an example. All right, and a collocation for you. Okay, the collocation is okay, to thoroughly disapprove or to thoroughly enjoy. Okay, this is another one of those words which means very, very, very. But as I've said in previous mini lessons, you can only use these certain words with certain other words. So you wouldn't say I profusely disapprove, but you would say, I would disapprove profusely, but you would say I apologize profusely, for example. So if I thoroughly disapprove of his behavior, or I thoroughly disapprove of, I don't know why, I just thought it's not true, but I thoroughly disapprove of gay marriage, then it means I really, really, really disapprove. And if you say, I thoroughly enjoyed my holiday, or I thoroughly enjoyed your lesson today, Mark, it means I really, really, really enjoyed your lesson. Okay, now I've got a slight problem because there's a little shelf in the aviary with my 3 pots on, but they are on top of the joke book. So you're going to have to see my head go down for a moment. I'll just move the pots to the floor. And here I am again. And I picked out a couple of jokes which are connected with birds. These are kind of a bit childish jokes, actually, which kind of thing children might say, but still they're quite funny. I never really was one of those type of people that like telling jokes, but sometimes the language in the jokes is quite useful, and it's good listening practice for you, and maybe you can tell a friend and just understand the British sense of humour a bit. Okay, so why do birds fly south in the winter? Because it's too far to walk. Okay, so it's kind of the why is why south, or why do birds do that? But because it's the answer is they are playing on the word fly, and it's saying why do they fly? Because it's too far to walk. It's pretty funny, actually, but it's also a very old joke. And when we say an old joke, it means it's been around for a long time. And most people probably wouldn't laugh because they've heard this joke before somewhere. Okay, second joke. Which side of the chicken has the most feathers? Which side of the chicken has the most feathers? The outside. Okay, so most people would think, the right or the left. That's weird. Of course, they have the same amount of feathers on the right side and the left side. But of course, side can also be inside or outside. So again, it's kind of playing with words, as so many jokes do, as I've said so many times. Okay, now again I have to cleverly close the book and take out my piece of paper. So I've got the Beatles question. Oh yeah. So the question today is, what kind of trees and what kind of skies does John sing about in Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? What kind of trees and what kind of skies does John sing about in Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds? Okay, just as a little aside, an aside is something which is not really connected with what we're talking about. But there was a lot of controversy about the song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, because if you read the lyrics, it's kind of a little bit like a trip, we would say. Now, a trip is when you take a lot of drugs and not exactly a dream, but you start seeing things maybe. And Lucy, L, Sky, S, and Diamonds, D, also spell, or they is abbreviation for LSD, which was a drug which was quite popular around that time. But the Beatles always denied this. The Beatles like to have a kind of good image, a popular image, unlike the Rolling Stones, who enjoyed their bad image. Okay, and the hum for today is, and this is a little bit connected with birds, or at least there's a line in there which has the word bird in it. So here we go. Oh, and thank you at the end there. The lovebirds don't have names, by the way. There's too many of them, and they all look the same. Okay, so I hope the question and the hum were easy enough for you. Okay, that's the end of today's mini lesson, and have a great day, and see you in the next mini lesson. Bye.